Koreans go to the government, get a loan, $50,000, come here in the United States, establish yourself in a business, put other Americans out of jobs.
They don't really know what's going on. They don't think about we putting about 80 or 90 hours a week. They just jealous, okay, because we are doing better than they do.
Well, my son, as a white person, is going to be in the minority.
We are a nation of immigrants forging an American culture. Hello, I'm Bertrand Allen. When we think of immigrants, we usually think of people of European or African descent. But in Maryland, that's changing. In the next half hour, we'll look at some different groups who are the new kids on the block, searching for a slice of the American pie.
When my father came to the United States, and I don't know what was the reason, because I was too young, but things that I know is he had a contract with a bakery in Baltimore City for 1 year. That's how we, became in the United States.
Hong-sik Kim, a Korean, is 28, married, has one child, and expecting another. Kim came to this country 12 years ago along with his parents and brother. Baltimore City is a mixture of many settled ethnic neighborhoods. Its population of 785,000 is one of the most diverse in the United States. Since the 60s, Baltimore has had a large black population. Koreans are believed to be the largest immigrant group to settle in Baltimore in recent years. According to the 1980 census, 12,000 Koreans were living in Maryland. Officials now believe the population could be 25,000. They are highly visible in Baltimore's black neighborhoods. They operate corner grocery stores, food service stands, and other retail stores. Most of the Korean immigrants were successful businessmen in their own country. 3 years ago, Kim bought a grocery store in Baltimore.
My father bought it for me. Well, first, he bought it on his name. He was the owner. But he never come around to run the business. I was run all the business, all the paperwork,
Kim's father owns a carryout shop, also in Baltimore. Like many Koreans, he was able to purchase the shop with the help of friends.
I will say about at least 95% of the Korean businessmen right now borrow from money from their friends. When my father bought one business a long time ago, about 10 years ago, right? And he borrowed from $3,000, and about 6 months later, he built up that business. But he built that business up about 4 times more than when he first bought it.
Many Koreans have relatives that own businesses. Kim's in-laws own 2 grocery stores in Baltimore. According to Kim, they work long hours and are open 7 days a week.
Plus, they wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, go all the way out to Cashapp, get the produce, vegetables, fruit. They do it for twice a week, for 3 years. Well, they're still doing it now.
According to Kim, Koreans open businesses in low to moderate income black neighborhoods because of the low cost, but operating them can present problems.
Most of the Korean people doesn't speak English good as I do. I would say about at least 70, maybe up to 85% Korean businessmen doesn't speak English good as I do. And because of that reason, they think they could get away from things, they're not supposed to. Let's say they buy one, grocery stuff from my store. And they bring it back after they use some of it, and told me, it wasn't, fulfilled. The guy, couldn't, tell them it wasn't fulfilled. Once they start arguing, because they couldn't speak English, they stop arguing because, once they get arguing, all we get is nothing but headache.
Yes, there were problems of approach. Koreans might appear to be obstinate or distant because of the language barrier.
Dr. Emmett Burns is regional director of the NAACP.
Koreans might tend to not understand blacks, how they operate and what they're trying to say to them or get over to them. And as a result, there are hostilities. Because of the language difference, the cultural difference, and the economic misunderstandings in terms of how they got there in the first place, they become targets.
Last 3 years, I had 2 robberies. One time, this guy brought a sawed-off shotgun, and second time, he brought a handgun. The place, that I own business right now, around that neighborhood, most of the people smokes pot. Whenever they get money, they go out and either smoke or drink, or they buy cocaine, snort or shoot.
Many blacks have felt the impact of Korean businesses in Baltimore. Some feel blacks are not offered the same opportunity.
I mean, a black person can go to the bank and get a loan of $25,000 because I have done it. And it made it hard for me. A Korean can walk right in the store there, get a loan of $15,000. Don't have to have no collateral. Just only collateral we have is that he's a foreigner.
We haven't got a 1 penny out of a United States government. Like I told you, whenever we need money, we go to the France and we get the loan without any interest at all.
They say about the Koreans, how they come over here and they done took this, they got that, but they work for everything they got.
James Smith is the owner of a fish stand located at the Bel Air Market. He says he has observed an increase of Korean merchants over the last year.
Frankly speaking, I admire the folks. I don't have anything against them. I've worked with them. They've treated me fairly. When they see a job, they go after it. And it seem like they're getting the job done.
Among black neighborhoods, rumors persist that Koreans receive special loans from the government to open businesses. Dr. Burns comments on these rumors.
I'm hearing all kinds of answers to that question. One, the Korean government is subsidizing Korean merchants. Two, our own government in some way is showing favoritism to Koreans. And three, Koreans work hard. They pool their resources, work 3 and 4 jobs until they get what they want, and they go into business and take the risk. I'm inclined to believe that number 3 is the reason.
Most Koreans like Kim don't live in Baltimore City. They live in the surrounding counties. Emmett Burns feels the public will have to wait and see what impact Koreans will have in Baltimore.
It's going to depend on how Koreans conduct themselves in the future. If they take the money and run and not put back into the black community what they are obviously taking out, then the impact is going to be negative. But if they stay and build and offer a service and take direct interest, then it's going to be positive. I think it's too soon to tell.
Last August, Kim sold his store to another Korean. The money he received is being used to open another business, which is common among Korean merchants. For now, Kim has time to relax.
Real good.
Kim also has thoughts about his children following in his footsteps.
I don't want my kid to become a businessman or businesswoman. I want them to use their head instead of with their body. I want them to be, studying, going to something that they don't have to work physically.
While Koreans are making their presence felt in Baltimore, the Indo-Chinese community is rapidly growing in the Washington suburbs.
I escaped from Vietnam in 1979, and the first country I, land on was Malaysia, Pulau Pidong, Malaysia. The reason why is only one reason I can say is freedom.
Han Phu is one of the boat people. Before seeking freedom in the United States, he went to 4 different countries. He lives with his brother in Tacoma Park, where many of the estimated 7,000 Maryland Indo-Chinese refugees live. In Vietnam, Phu was a teacher. Here, he became a student.
When I came to this country, the first thing I had to do is go to school, because I don't speak English at all in my country.
After a year and a half of high school, Phu graduated, then attended Montgomery College. He survived through public assistance and financial aid. But public assistance for refugees has raised some concerns.
The biggest concern by Congress and everyone else in the state in the states is that refugees would become dependent on public assistance for a long time.
Frank Bean is the state coordinator for refugee affairs.
That can happen because the monies available for refugees, public assistance for refugees, is limited to 18 months for individuals and 36 months for families who would be eligible for AFDC.
Phu's family, except his brother, still live in Vietnam. Like many refugees, he has few American friends. This is partially due to the language barrier, but also because of feelings that are left from the war.
Just a few people, like they have a member of their family have been served in Vietnam before, in the time before 1975, and they say the bad word to the Vietnamese people, just like, I don't like your country, I hate your country because your country took my, my own son or something like that. And that time I think, American people, they have to understand more than that, because that's the time you send the army over there, we don't like it either. We don't like it.
Phu speaks limited English. Some refugees do not. They must attend classes to learn.
Please come in.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Shelley Wolf.
Oh, I'm very glad to meet you.
Thank you.
Once refugees learn some English, they're ready to enter the job market. Sun Win is supervisor of a refugee program in Silver Spring.
All of them, they have no work experience here before. And of course, they do have some skill or some experience in their home country. But most of the local employers, they require them to have work experience to prove that they are good workers. And we try to do some counseling on them and work with the local employers also.
Many refugees accept jobs that were once held by other minorities. There is criticism that refugees are taking jobs away from those communities.
There's a criticism offered by some minority part of the population that would complain either way, whether if they'll complain that we're using taxpayers' dollars to put people in public assistance, refugees in public assistance, but if we find jobs for the refugees, then they'll complain that we're taking jobs from other Americans. So it's a no-win situation.
Fu now works in the housekeeping department in a Washington hotel.
I would like to spend my whole life with that job because I not very good in English this time. But I can say I can go to school, and the best thing, I have to try to speak more.
Yeah, I have room.
And telephone is the best ways I can get.
Oh, okay. Okay, bye-bye.
While many refugees are able to find blue-collar jobs, some say it is difficult to enter the white-collar job market. This complaint surfaced at a meeting sponsored by the county's Human Relations Commission.
We go back to this question of employment again. A lot of the older groups, have had a lot of difficulty getting on to the administrative section. Have not had the opportunity, as you said before, to go up into the career ladder.
We need to have some names on some lists when these folk apply for whatever it is that they're applying, whether it be in the school system, whether it be in the county government, on the police department, or whatever. We need to have some names for the various slots so that when folk apply or when folk might apply, we can network and endorse.
There is also a merchant class, and their businesses often provide a meeting place for many refugees.
Yeah, I play pool with a French style. That's the most time I spend 1 hour over there.
Most of Fu's family is still in Vietnam. His parents will not come to the United States, so he has to look after his brother.
My father sent me a letter. He said he don't care whatever I do, or you get a good job or you get a good education or what. You brother, be the good one. You have, respond for him to graduate from university. That's what he wants. And I have to respond for that because my parents not here. And I am the oldest in the family.
And Fu says he is proud of the Indo-Chinese community.
I'm proud of myself about my own people, Vietnamese people and Chinese people. They get along with the community around the Montgomery County.
The Indo-Chinese are only part of Montgomery County's melting pot. The Hispanics, just over 35,000, are the other new kids on the block.
Cuando son las 11 de la mañana con 7 minutos en Radio Mundo.
The Hispanic community of Montgomery County is comprised of the old and new. The old are the Cubans and South Americans that arrived back in the mid-60s, and they've become somewhat successful. The new Hispanics are the ones arriving from Central America, countries like Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Guatemala. Alvaro Gaviria lives in Bethesda, Maryland. He came to this country in 1964 from Colombia, South America.
I had a relative that lived in Arlington, Virginia, and he came for a visit and then asked me if I wanted to come to the United States and perhaps go to school, and I say yes, and then I got my visa in a matter of days, and I came to the States.
What adjustments did you have to make when you first came over here?
Many. The most important being the language. Because I didn't speak English at all. And at that time, in 1964, there were some Hispanics in the area, but not as many as we find now. So that was a major adjustment. Also, everything was different than we had in our own countries. The food, the way that the city looks, and it's a total adjustment.
Alvaro has adjusted to American lifestyle. He has served in the Army, worked at the Colombian embassy where he met his wife, and now runs a successful travel agency in Washington, D.C.
I work for the Colombian embassy, then I work for the Colombian airline. And when I was working for the Colombian airline, I was laid off. And then I had a period of unemployment, but I had some savings. And then there was an opportunity to open this travel agency where the Colombian airline closed its doors. So we took over the space and formed a travel agency.
I got a score!
No, it wasn't. I will say that in Montgomery County, the relations between the Hispanic community and the rest of the inhabitants is better than in other areas of the Washington metropolitan area. I don't think the county, Montgomery County, is as burdened with a lot of Hispanics that require public services as it is in say, in Washington, D.C. So therefore, everything works out more smoothly.
The most rapid growing Hispanic group in Montgomery County is Central Americans, and life doesn't always run smoothly for them. Alvaro De Moya, a human relations counselor for Montgomery County, comments.
Newest Hispanics in Montgomery County, and those are basically basically Central Americans who are coming from a very agrarian and rural society. The majority come with no skills or some agrarian labor skills limits their opportunities to work.
Guillermo Ayua worked as a civil engineer in Guatemala. He has a visa to work in this country and is waiting for immigration to approve his permanent resident status. He speaks no English. For now, he works as a welder in Rockville.
Socialmente, quiero decirle los pocos amigos que he conocido.
I feel that I've been lucky because I have a job and I have been given opportunities to work, even though it's not in the same field that I have practiced back in Guatemala.
No, la verdad que no es. Para mí hay diferentes clases de mentalidades.
I have been flexible,
La mía creo que no se ajusta.
and the main problem has been the language. But I feel confident that I learned the language and that will facilitate a lot of things in my life in the United States.
A lot of us have made inroads and have integrated into the inhabitants, the society, in the whole metropolitan area, including Montgomery County. I think that we have made an impact in the business community because there are a lot of Hispanic businessmen, businesswomen. I think that we are a force in the United States. There are, I think it's 11% of the United States population, Hispanic heritage.
My son, as a white person, is going to be in the minority.
Nancy Arison has lived in Montgomery County for the past 15 years. Her neighborhood has many immigrants. Her son Justin attends the local junior high school.
When you're done.
He's a minority. He will be a minority at that school. The concern I have about it is that some of the children who are coming to the school have very little educational background. Some of the children who are coming, Asian children that are coming, a lot of services are required for those children. They need language skills. Some of them have a lot of emotional problems too from the understandably difficult upbringing that they've had in Asia and Korea, whatever. And my concern is that my son may not get the level of services that he would get possibly in a school that was a little more homogeneous.
Though Nancy is concerned, she does not intend to remove Justin from the neighborhood school.
I grew up in Baltimore, and in Baltimore, at least the Baltimore that I grew up in, the neighborhoods were very homogeneous, and there was an Italian neighborhood, and there was a Jewish neighborhood, and there was a whatever neighborhood, but they kept to themselves. This is very different here. I have Spanish people next door, Japanese people up the street, people from India down the street. They live across the street from Vietnamese. We have people from Korea. The man who takes care of my car is from Afghanistan. My pediatrician is Hispanic from Central America. That's a different kind of thing than I had in Baltimore, certainly. If I move from the neighborhood, it's not going to be because of the color or background of any of my neighbors. If I move, it's going to be because my child is not provided the services that he needs in school.
Nancy is not alone in wanting the best for her child.
I will ask my son never to renounce his heritage and to try to do better than I have, you know, to go to school and to be a law-abiding citizen and do whatever he can for the community, because some of us have been luckier than other ones, you know, to go one step ahead. And so we always should look back and try to
To perform the perfect dive, Olympic champion Greg Louganis needs not only a finely tuned body, he also needs a finely tuned brain. How does his brain engineer such complex, exquisite movement that even the most sophisticated robot can in no way rival? And why does the brain fail to control movement in a Parkinson's disease victim like comedian Terry Thomas?
It's as though one's feet are glued to the ground.
We'll find the answers through art, squid, a woman spending a week looking at the world upside down, and a blind man learning to see through touch.
Never occurred to me that flames would have a shape, because when you touch a flame, you only experience heat.
It's vision and movement in the brain.
The fascinating study continues tomorrow night at 9.
For San Francisco, it was the crime of the century.
I want to know why you're not going to reappoint me.
Try to explain.
There is no reason.
It's just a political decision, Dan, and that's that.
Dan Whitehead killed Mayor George Moscone and gay supervisor Harvey Milk. And the jury's verdict at his murder trial was as shocking as the killings themselves.
That the facts in this case support anything more than voluntary manslaughter.
The People versus Dan White, tomorrow at 9.
I think pretty much from the time I was 11 or 12, I knew that I was gay. Although I didn't admit it to anyone else for quite a few years. When I realized I was gay, I was kind of horrified.
But I'd really love to get married in a church to another woman.
And I was sort of hoping that in the same way it would dawn on me that I wanted a boyfriend. But it never did.
Most of the people around me know that I'm gay. I don't say, hello, my name is Daniel, I'm gay.
Growing Up Gay, tomorrow night at 10:30.
The word is out. Krabs is back with another serving of comedy that's fresh, hot, and spicy. Be a member of our studio audience Wednesday, October 24th. Call 337-4331.
Join MPT for nostalgic movies, music, and cartoons. They'll all be here for Matinee at the Bijou. It won't be the same without you. Thursday night at 11:30. This is Maryland Public Television.
In schools and in churches, Baltimore's German voices reflect their far-flung European homelands. They came from lands that are today Germany, Poland, Russia, Switzerland, Austria, and Czechoslovakia. Their reasons for coming varied with the passage of time. 18th century immigrants sought religious freedom. Later waves of immigrants in the 19th and 20th centuries fled their homelands due to economic and political factors. These hundreds of thousands of German immigrants have played a vital role in the development of the city of Baltimore as well as the state of Maryland. By the middle of the 18th century, towns